Two-time Pro Bowler with the Chiefs. Frank Reich and the Colts lost their opener to the Seahawks 28-16. Sean McVay and the Rams 34-14 victory over the Bears at home. Los Angeles wins the toss. They defer. We are underway in Indianapolis. Isaiah Rodgers on the return for the Colts. Out across the 25 and still going. Excellent field position for the Colts following a 41-yard return as Carson Wentz leads the Colts offense out onto the field. In his Indianapolis debut last week, threw for 251 yards. A couple of touchdown passes to Zach Pascal.
Liz, 41. Go. Liz, 41? Yeah.
Colts start from their 41-yard line with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield.
Right.
Pascal in motion. Wentz over the middle on first down. It's complete into Rams territory. Michael Pittman Jr. a first down, a gain of 14.
Michael Pittman does a great job of finding the hole in that zone. Darius Williams is playing off coverage. He just hesitates for a second. That hesitation is what allowed Pittman to get that pass, get Wentz. Actually, really rifled that ball in there. Ball location was great for Carson Wentz on that first throw.
From the Rams 45, they get it into the hands of Ashton Dulin. So a couple of big plays to start this game for the Indianapolis Colts offense.
The offensive line, that's supposed to be the stalwart, right? The tree stump for this offense, and they need to step up. Didn't have a great game last week, looking to step up. Glad they have Eric Fisher back.
Missing a couple of their top wideouts in T.Y. Hilton and Paris Campbell. 24 yards on the first two plays from scrimmage. Another first down from the LA 35. Wentz complete. It's Pittman again for a gain of 9 as we check out the Rams defense, ranked first in the league, Jonathan, last season.
And it's led by that defensive line, Aaron Donald, we all know about. But that defensive line, praised by Sean McVay and Raheem Morris last week, had a really, really good game. And hence why I talked about the offensive line for the Colts. This is going to be the big matchup, the key matchup. Quentin Nelson versus Aaron Donald. If he can contain him, they have a chance offensively.
Colts have gained 33 yards on their first 3 plays.
Wiz. 20.
Second down and 1. First carry for Jonathan Taylor, the NFL's 3rd leading rusher a season ago. And Taylor picks up a first down to the Rams 23.
This Aaron Donald, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Look at the hands and the leverage. You know, he's naturally not a big guy, you know, about 6 feet tall, so he's always going to be up under the lineman, and he knows how to get the hands off of him so he can get off and make plays.
New set of downs for the Colts from the 23. It's Taylor. Down to the 19-yard line, a gain of 4. Sebastian Joseph Day made the tackle.
And I like this strategy by head coach Frank Reich. He calls the plays. Marcus Brady, offensive coordinator, they went outside to inside, right? You loosen them up with some perimeter runs on the outside, throw to Michael Pittman Jr. on the outside, and then now you start to try to hammer them on the inside. You do that, and it keeps those linebackers and those defensive linemen off balance. It's great play calling right now.
Colts had a good opening drive last week against Seattle, 9.5 minutes. Came away with only 3 points. Looking to reach the end zone this time. 2nd and 6. Wentz fires, and it's caught at the 13-yard line by the tight end, Jack Doyle.
And I love it. They run the exact same play, except they insert Jack Doyle instead of Michael Pittman Jr. for that catch. And then you look at the key matchup. Quentin Nelson going against Aaron Donald. Gets a little help, but hey, if you slow down Aaron Donald, that is a win on every play. Jack Doyle with the nice catch. Brings up 3rd and short. I know that they like running the ball in 3rd and short, especially down here in the red zone. They won't be afraid to try to punch that ball for the first.
They send in 3 tight ends. 3rd down and 1. It's Taylor, 1st down and more. Inside the 5, still going. Finally brought down inside the Rams' 2-yard line by Kenny Young.
They run right at Aaron Donald, and as great as Aaron Donald is, that sometimes is the weakness. He gets upfield and creates that natural rush lane that Jonathan Taylor seizes and punishes Taylor Rapp at the end. What a tough run, great vision, great explosion. And don't look now, Colts fans, you're on the cusp of getting a touchdown.
8th play of the drive. 1st and goal, it's Taylor. Taylor stops short.
Defensive coordinator Raheem Morris did a tremendous job as an interim head coach with the Atlanta Falcons last year. Comes on board with Sean McVay. Well, it's interesting, he was a wide receivers coach turned interim head coach in Atlanta, going back to his natural position as defensive coordinator. He's got a tall task keeping the Colts out of the end zone in this series.
Colts send in a linebacker, Matthew Adams at fullback, and with Adams leading the way, Taylor gets bottled up. Aaron Donald once again in on the tackle, along with Ernest Jones.
Leonard Floyd gets the first crack at Jonathan Taylor. Doesn't tackle him, but slows him down. And it's a lot different down here now with that defensive line, Aaron Donald in on that tackle, because there are no more pass rush lanes. They're not going to be ripping up the field. They understand you have to really hold your gap, and that's what they've been doing those first 2 drives.
3rd and goal, 10th play of the drive. It's Taylor, looks to go over the top. And again, the Rams defense coming up big.
Frank Reich wanted to send a message. That's why he's going dive, dive, dive. He's sending a message to that Rams defense.
4th and goal. Wentz in trouble, wrapped up. Leonard Floyd comes through to make the play. Four chances for the Colts from the 1-yard line.
Hoping for Jonathan Taylor to get out to the flat quickly and hit him with a quick strike. He had his other options of Jack Doyle and Kylen Granson, but everyone is covered. You have covered. There's nothing for Carson Wentz that he could do. Great defensive recognition by the Rams, and Leonard Floyd capped it off with the sack.
So now the Rams go to work from their 10-yard line. Matthew Stafford handing it off. This is Darrell Henderson out to the 12 for a gain of 2. Floyd with a huge sack on 4th down.
Yeah, coming up big, and Carson Wentz, you see the frustration. You get all the way down there. The series was a beautiful series. Inside, outside, run, pass, and just stalled again. And, going back to last week, they're now 0 for 4 on 4th down, Kenny.
Frank Reich telling us the other day we must be better on our critical downs. 3rd and 4th down. Unable to convert. Second down and 8. Stafford throwing for the first time, and a diving catch is made by Robert Woods for a Rams first down out at the 29, a 17-yard pass play. Stafford, career best rating in his Rams debut, named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
And boy, he can still throw that football. And the only time Aaron Donald in our meeting with him, the only time he smiled, Kenny, was when I mentioned Matthew Stafford.
Right.
He was all business until we mentioned him. they love Matthew Stafford at the helm.
Aaron Donald said, I'm happy he's on my team. He said he's different. He talked about leadership, his control in the huddle. And we saw it last week against the Bears. As Stafford sets, now swings it out. This is Henderson out of the backfield for a Rams first down. As he takes it all the way out to midfield and then into Colts territory. Finally brought down by Julian Blackmon, a gain of 23 as we check out the Rams offensive line.
And speaking of Darrell Henderson coming out of Memphis, his third year with the Rams, you know, Sean McVay said he was a complete back last week. He ran the ball, blitz pickup, and in passing, as you just saw.
Empty backfield on first down. As Stafford fires, and it's complete to Van Jefferson for another Rams first down at the Colts 35, a 14-yard pass play.
And you can see where the Rams are going, automatically attacking TJ Carey, that backup cornerback in for Xavier Rhodes, who will be there, and they're wasting no time. Van Jefferson's getting those dig routes, which are 18 yards, and you cut right in, and it's an easy look for Matthew Stafford over the middle.
Kevin O'Connell, Rams offensive coordinator. Stafford has started the game 3 for 3. He's connected with 3 different receivers. You mentioned Xavier Rhodes. He's missing his second straight game for the Colts, the 3-time Pro Bowl corner. They keep it on the ground. It's Henderson for a couple as we head to Los Angeles for a game break. Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Kenny. Bears trying to bounce back after their loss to the Rams last week. This is helpful. Andy Dalton finds Allen Robinson for an 11-yard score, capping off by a 9-play, 75-yard opening drive. They're up early, 7-0. Kenny?
So a good start for Andy Dalton against his former team. Rams on the move after their defense came up big. Stopped the Colts 4 times from the 1-yard line. Rams empty the backfield, 2nd and 8. Stafford, quick release on the wide receiver screen. It's Cooper Kupp for a Rams first down to the Colts 20. Stafford to Kupp for 13 yards.
It's a nice bubble screen for Cooper Kupp. It's in essence a run play, right? You have this bubble screen. The 2 wide receivers, Van Jefferson and Robert Woods, they like to block. They are aggressive in that running game. So you see this and you say, all right, you pick up 8-9 yards. That's a good run play for the Rams.
Sean McVay told us Stafford and Kupp are attached at the hip. They see the game through the same lens. Great chemistry so far. New set of downs. It's Henderson up the middle. Henderson gains 4 with under 4 minutes remaining in this fast-paced first quarter. A look at the Indianapolis defense.
As you see, they were 2nd in rushing last year. Did a really good job, but it's that secondary that's going to be challenged. Xavier Rhodes is out. You have TJ Carey, and we've already seen in this first series, that's where the Rams and Matthew Stafford want to attack. Secondary is going to have to step up.
Second down and 6 with Kupp in the backfield. Stafford sets, throws, end zone, touchdown, Cooper Kupp. 16 yards, Rams strike first.
Man, I just raved about Frank Reich calling a really good first series. I mean, it gets no better than that. Cooper Kupp, he's in the backfield as if he's a running back. They replace him, they put him in and replace Darrell Henderson. And wow, what a route, right up the seam. Kyrie Willis could not keep up with that. It was an easy touchdown for Stafford.
Here's Matt Gay, spent some time on the Colts practice squad last season. The extra point is good. So the Rams defense sets the tone and then the offense takes over.
Matthew Stafford picking up right where he left off last week.
All you have to do is go 6 for 6. Rams with a 7-0 lead here at Indy.
Make it sound so easy going 6 for 6, but either way, Cooper Kupp sitting as a running back, and then it's going to go right up the field on what's a seam route at the running back position. Kyrie Willis, he has no chance. He's trying to stay outside leverage. Cooper Kupp puts a move on him, one of those moves I used to do back in the day, and over the top of Darius Leonard for the touchdown. That connection.
Let's bring back the video.
So see, why do you have to go there, Kenny?
8 plays, 90 yards. Stafford to Cup.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, Kenny.
I'll remember that.
Lester push. 20, set.
Colts start from the 25-yard line as Wentz will go down, sacked for the second time today. First, Leonard Floyd, now Taylor Rapp.
And that was all the defensive line. Taylor Rapp is going to get the credit. But watch the push by that defensive line. Ashawn Robinson, Greg Gaines, and then Taylor Rapp cleans it up. I mean, you give him no chance. If you can't protect him for more than 3 seconds, this offense is going to have a long day today.
Loss of 8. Movement prior to the snap.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's Julian Davenport starting at right tackle today for the injured Braden Smith. Wentz sacked 3 times last week, Jonathan, by the Seattle Seahawks.
Not just that, the pressures. He was hit. He was on the ground a lot. And it's surprising because the strength is supposed to be that offensive line for the Colts. They have not stepped up yet. They have to do a better job for Carson Wentz and for Jonathan Taylor.
So a sack and a penalty. Now second and 23. Pass over the middle, caught at the 20-yard line by Zach Pascal. So a third and long coming up for the Colts. We mentioned that nice opening drive last week, 9.5 minutes, come away with only 3 points. And then the Seahawks would march down and score quickly. Today, the Colts kept out of the end zone after the 11-play drive, and the Rams would take the lead on their first possession.
You know, Sean Payton always used to say there are no moral victories in the NFL. You get 11 plays, that's good. We got to see some points on the board for those 11 plays. Rams putting their speed package, get ready for Aaron Donald off the edge.
3rd down and 14. Here comes Donald. Donald in the face of Wentz. He knocks him down as Wentz fires, and it is caught in Rams territory by Pittman as Wentz took a hit from Donald but connects with Michael Pittman Jr. 42-yard pass play.
Aaron Donald going against the backup, spins his way into the pressure right in the face of Carson Wentz, and wow, how did Carson Wentz get that one off? Woo, stood in there, strong, tall, takes the hit, and boy, did they need that completion.
Wentz has started the game 6 for 6. Has also been sacked twice. Hands it off to Jonathan Taylor. Second year back out of Wisconsin, down to the 32-yard line for a gain of 5 as time winds down here in quarter number 1.
That was a quick one. Oh, like only 5 minutes.
No incomplete passes on either side.
Yeah, that makes me want to throw up. That's bad defense.
Quarterbacks, a combined 11 of 11.
Hey, you shouldn't have told me that, Kenny.
Silver!
I'll make sure not to stand too close. Second down and 6.
Grenade!
Empty backfield.
Hammer! No, go, Liz! 180!
Final play of the quarter. Wentz complete to Taylor. So the QBs remain perfect. And the Colts facing a 3rd down and 3 when we return. Trailing the Rams here at Indy.
Consistency is the key. As much as I hate looking at those, a defensive guy, that's still beautiful. That is really good work offensively.
Grenade!
3rd down and 3 for the Colts as we begin the second quarter. Wentz pass off the hands of Nyheim Hines, so finally an incompletion.
A little too high for Nyheim Hines. They had exactly what they wanted. It would have been a 1st down. Instead, they settled for the field goal attempt.
So here's Rodrigo Blankenship. This will be a 48-yard attempt. Roberto Sanchez will place it down at the right hash. From 48. Colts on the board. Early second quarter in Indianapolis, 7-3. Lost in big games in January and February.
That's what it's all about. He's been paid. He's had success. He's been to the Pro Bowl. Now it's about winning. I love it.
Jake Funk, rookie out of Maryland. On the return for the Rams. Out to the 22-yard line.
The best thing I heard from Sean McVay after getting Matthew Stafford and being in practice with him in training camp, he said he didn't realize how well he does at manipulating the secondary and the defense to throw the ball. And he said, he puts him in the Brady, Mahomes category of where he can now look a defender off, look a safety off, look a linebacker off, and then get that ball in there. And I said, you know what? No way. And I went and watched the film. I was like, he's got a point. Stafford looks good, man. He looks good.
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers as well.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's elite category.
Rams start from the 22-yard line, leading by 4. Fake toss to Henderson, and then Stafford was under pressure, so he throws it away. Taylor Stallworth applying the pressure for the Colts.
Second down.
No manipulating the defense that time. They're just getting up the field and getting after Stafford. They did not bite on that play action to Darrell Henderson, and the pressure has it's actually a smart play. Just throw it away. Second down, don't take the sack.
Stafford's first incompletion. Sean McVay told us Stafford is so incredibly smart and decisive. He was voted a captain unanimously in his first year with the club. Second and 10. Stafford throws, and this one is picked off. Intercepted by Khari Willis, who was beaten by Cooper Kupp on the touchdown, and now Willis comes up with the big play.
Looked like the ball was tipped, and Khari Willis makes a tremendous catch, game-changing for the Colts.
Out what happened on that last play.
It was simple. D-line pressure. Tyquan Lewis gets in there, gets his hand on that football, and then he wanted Cooper Kupp on the over, kind of flailed in the air, and Khari Willis makes a tremendous play, game-changing play for the Colts.
His third career pick. Colts start at the Rams 42. Taylor wrapped up after a gain of 2 as we take one more look at the interception.
And Tyquan Lewis getting the pressure. You see the tip. He gets his big paw up there, and now that ball's coming out a little awkwardly, trying to fit it in. He would have been able to fit that in that 3 deep, and Khari Willis, middle of the field safety, makes a nice play. And man, I'm so jealous of these celebrations. I wish we had a camera like this so I could do that when I played. I'm just going to hate on all defenders from here on out.
Played about a decade too early.
Don't age me, Kenny. God.
Second down and 8. Wentz complete to the tight end, Mo Alley Cox. And he has a Colts first down as we check in with Lindsay.
Yeah, you guys are talking about, Vilma, that defense, what the Colts were able to do. They were frankly embarrassed. I mean, Darius Leonard was telling me that they knew they could not stop big plays last week. They focused on doing us better. They were talking about always making sure to stay on top, linebackers helping the DBs out, and they're finally finding success with this. But they knew they needed to show the Colts fan base what they could really do.
You hit it on the head, Lindsay. I'm glad that they felt that way, have some pride about you, and now they're really starting to step up. Starts with that defensive line, and it's now permeating through the rest of the defense.
Great 4-1, son. Lady, what's that?
On first and 10 from the 22-yard line, Taylor bounces to the outside, and he's tackled at the 14-yard line, gain of 8.
Now, this is something you don't see very often. Watch Aaron Donald in the middle. He's actually going to have this play. It's a wham play where the tight end is supposed to now block Aaron Donald, and Jonathan Taylor says, "Oh, get off me!" Runs for a first down. Or almost a first down. That's big boy running right there against one of the best to do it.
Second down and 2.
Here we go. Set. Grenade! Reset.
Here's Taylor. Works his way to the 10-yard line for a Colts first down. Game break, Carissa.
Thanks, Kenny. Bills up 7-0 in Miami, looking to bounce back from that week 1 loss to the Steelers. Josh Allen scrambles, eventually finds his favorite target in Stephon Diggs for this 5-yard score. But things are going from bad to worse for the Dolphins. Tua carted off with an injury. Jacoby Brissett takes over.
Wow. Thanks, Carissa. Jacoby Brissett, the former Colt, in for the injured Tua Tagovailoa. Dolphins coming off the win over the Patriots last week. First and goal. Wentz fires and finds his man for a gain of 7. It's Pittman down to the Rams 3.
Wentz spoke to us and said, I need to work on my ball location, the accuracy, right? You have the stat that says, oh, 60, 70% accurate, whatever. Then you have the ball location, and that right there was ball location because he had to fit it into a tight window. Jordan Fuller was baiting him into throwing it out to Jonathan Taylor. Instead, he makes a nice grab. Now second and goal in the red zone.
Right, Wentz told us I have to help out my guys a little more.
He did right there.
On second and goal, it's Taylor. Remember, on the Colts opening drive, Taylor with 3 opportunities from the 1-yard line. And then Wentz was looking to throw on 4th down. Was sacked by Leonard Floyd. Now it's 3rd and goal, and Frank Reich talked to us about these critical downs. He said we must be better.
You know, at first I get it. In the first series, you want to attack the teeth of that defense, show them that you're not afraid. Now you need to scheme. You need to show why you brought Carson Wentz over, and you need to scheme this defense to get a touchdown.
Hines in the backfield. 3rd and goal. Shovel pass.
Oh my
Picked
God.
off. Intercepted by Troy Reeder.
Whoa.
For the second time, the Colts stopped by this Rams defense inside the 5-yard.
To Jack Doyle, he's going to come right behind the line of scrimmage and then sneak in there, hoping to catch that defensive line off guard. Instead, Aaron Donald bumps Jack Doyle because he's so disruptive, and then it's a blind throw for Carson Wentz. Obviously doesn't see Troy Reeder for an easy interception.
Reeder with his first career pick, and now Stafford complete. Cooper Kupp rustled out of bounds by Corey Willis.
And that's deflating for the Colts. You can't you put together these nice drives every time to only come away with 3 points after 3 good series. That is really deflating. But credit that Rams defense. They found a way, the disruption from the defensive line, to go ahead and make a game-changing play.
Colts have run 7 goal-to-go plays. They've come away with no points. Second down and 1. Woods in motion. This is Henderson. Picks up a first down and out across the 25. Finally tackled at the 27-yard line, a gain of 13.
Darrell Henderson's the workhorse for this offense. Robert Woods, you see him going there to try to get a block. But McVay couldn't talk enough about how well Darrell Henderson has been and how good of the job he's done.
Play action. Stafford then dumps it off. This is Henderson out to the 31. And you know, Sean McVay told us it looked as if Stafford was checking things out downfield. McVay told us that he has mentioned numerous times to Matthew Stafford, a shot call doesn't mean a shot taken every time. And Stafford did a nice job checking it down to Henderson.
Stafford is so comfortable with his wide receivers and with the outlet Darrell Henderson has become that he knows he doesn't need to force it. Darrell Henderson will give him a nice 9 or 10 yards, move the chains, live for another down.
Second down and 6, punch formation to the right. The give is to Henderson. Gains a couple. Out to the 33. Willis the tackle. 3rd down and 5 coming up for the Rams.
This is a matchup of the coaches that I couldn't wait to see. I want to see how Sean McVay schemes that Matt Eberflus defense. Matt Eberflus loves to have those backers up in the line of scrimmage, and you can't tell if it's zone, man, and then on the flip side, Sean McVay spreading everybody out. He wants to really open up that defense and see what Eberflus is going to call.
Empty backfield, 3rd down and 4. Stafford complete for a 1st down to the tight end, Tyler Higbee. So that quiets the crowd. Gain of 7 out to the 41-yard line.
It's too easy for Matthew Stafford. You're looking on the outside with Tyler Higbee one-on-one with Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is a great linebacker, but that is a tall task to sit here and ask him to now play essentially corner from that outside position when he's a linebacker. Great throwing catch, and then again, great scheme by Sean McVay.
Stafford 8 of 10 with a touchdown and a pick. New set of downs for the Rams. Cup in motion. And some miscommunication as Stafford is down. Loss of 4 on the play. Lindsey.
Kenny, Tyler Higbee is one of the wideouts, the receiver, obviously tight end, who said that they're still sort of in awe, in fact, of Stafford coming over, because they said, think about it. It's a guy that you watch his highlights of throwing, then he gets on your team, and you realize this guy does it every single day in practice. He executes. It's the way he carries himself, his work ethic. These two are also dividing quite a chemistry as well.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsey. Everybody we talked to with the Rams on the offensive side, the defensive side, they all gushed about what they've seen from Stafford so far.
They think he can take them to the promised land.
Which would mean a Super Bowl in their home stadium. 2nd down and 14, and it's Robert Woods who makes the catch in Indianapolis territory for another 1st down, a gain of 16.
And Robert Woods is so tough, so consistent. He sets the tone for the wide receivers and for that offense. You'll see him run the ball. He loves to block, and then obviously a really, really good wide receiver. Him and Cooper Kupp, that tandem is really solid. They don't get a lot of accolades or Pro Bowls, but they are as good as it gets in the NFL.
You mentioned Matt Eberflus, the Colts defensive coordinator. Woods, 90 receptions each of the last 2 seasons.
And you wouldn't know it, right? They don't talk about it.
Here's Henderson spinning inside the 45. And Jonathan, you mentioned neither has been to a Pro Bowl. Woods in his 9th NFL season, year 5 for Cooper Kupp. One of 5 duos, each with at least 2,000 receiving yards over the last couple of seasons.
Water! Water!
2nd down and 7. Here's Woods. Rocky Yassin brings him down for a loss of 3.
Fast-flowing Colts defense. They get to running Robert Woods in the slot position. They try a little trickeration with the reverse, not fooling anybody. Rocky Yassin just tracks his man down. And here we go.
3rd down and 10. 10th play of the drive. It's Kupp who makes the catch for a Rams 1st down at the Colts 35-yard line.
I don't know how you stop this, right? You have him just literally running away from Kenny Moore. He's trying his best. The beautiful thing about that is Cooper Kupp, he didn't round his over route. You call that an over route, just really running over the field. He cut it so short so that it was a 90-degree cut for Matthew Stafford to put it right in for a 1st down.
His 4th catch today.
Pretty hot!
Well, the Colts 36 off the fake to Henderson. A pump fake from Stafford, directing traffic, could not find anyone. And he is out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Lindsey.
Yeah, Kenny, you're talking about Kupp, and that's exactly what the teammates are saying, is these guys, him and Woods, they get no credit, right? But Tyler Higbee was one guy that was saying Cooper Kupp, he is one of the best hands-down players I have ever been around. And he said because people also don't see what he's willing to sacrifice, whether it's blocking or standing by for his guy so that someone else can make a big play, Kenny.
Cub set a Division I record for career receptions at Eastern Washington. Caught 92 passes a season ago, and now great chemistry with Matthew Stafford. Play clock winding down. 2nd and 5. Stafford to the outside. It's Cup once again. Stays in bounds. Gains some extra yardage after picking up a Rams first down.
Matthew Stafford takes a little hit on that play. They try to bring the heat. Matthew Stafford recognizes it. Been in the league too long for him not to recognize that. Easy defense for him, and then throws it to the open guy in Cup. And, you know, the more I watch Cup, he reminds me, not as physical, but as versatile as Hines Ward. Remember those days with Hines Ward, he'd go in, he would block, he would try to knock your helmet off, and then he would still have the wherewithal to pass catch out of the backfield or at wide receiver. Cup is in that mold. Really good wide receiver.
Stafford now 6 for 6 on the drive. Took that hit from DeForest Buckner. And now Stafford on first down, swings it out. Too low for Henderson. First incompletion of this drive. Clock stops with 2:16 remaining in the opening half here in Indy. Stafford connected with Cooper Kupp for the game's only touchdown late in the first quarter. Rams looking to extend their lead.
Look at that combination down at the bottom, the two wide receivers stacked.
2nd and 10, it's Henderson. Third down and 9 coming up for the Rams. But first we hit the 2-minute warning. Matthew Stafford, big win on Sunday night. 4-point lead here at
out for Matthew Stafford. Watch the right thumb get jammed on that shoulder pad of DeForest Buckner on that pressure, and he's been shaking it out a little bit, kind of bothering him. Might be a little nuisance, but man, I would hate to see Matthew Stafford go down with the right thumb injury. And you see Sean McVay, they're talking about it a little bit, but I know Matthew Stafford, he's tough as nails, but that's the last thing you want is for him to go out with that thumb injury. All wide receivers are at the top of the screen.
3rd down and 9. As Stafford steps up, hit from behind. As he got rid of the football, it was Buckner again who applied the pressure that we just showed you when Stafford hit his thumb on Buckner's shoulder.
What a leader. DeForest Buckner said, it starts with me up front. They brought me here from the 49ers. They paid me. I need to show how good I can be. And he has stepped up, put the pressure on Matthew Stafford prior, and then gets that hit right there, forcing the 4th down. And boy, did they need that, right? To stop giving up touchdowns. That's going to go a long way for this Colts defense.
So here's Matt Gay, 34-yard attempt from the right hash. Gay's kick is straight through. So the Colts defense keeps Stafford and the Rams out of the end zone. Buckner with some big plays. 10-3 Rams. Coming up, Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Michael, an NFC South showdown. Panthers leading the Saints 10-0. Tua carted off, so Jacoby Brissett in the game for the Dolphins. And Jalen Hurts looking to lead the Philadelphia Eagles to a 2-0 start. Rams lead the Colts 10-3. Colts will start at their 25-yard line. Next weekend on Fox, start Saturday strong with the big noon kickoff pregame show at 10 a.m. Eastern, live from Soldier Field in Chicago. Noon Eastern, Jack Cohen and the 12th-ranked Fighting Irish take on number 18, Wisconsin, his former squad. A huge big noon Saturday begins at 10 Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Fighting Irish and the Badgers.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
The question is, will a portion of that crowd be jumping around at Soldier Field?
I hope they do. That is fun.
Carson Wentz and the Colts from the 25-yard line. It's Doyle. Jack Doyle out to the 38-yard line. Gain of 13.
They bring Jalen Ramsey off the edge. Jack Doyle crossing over the middle of the field. Easy looking completion for Carson Wentz. Now they have 3 timeouts. Plenty of time for this 2-minute drive.
Wentz on first down. Can't find anyone under pressure from Aaron Donald. Throws it away.
Smart. Smart by Wentz. Aaron Donald matched up against Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson actually does a good job. And then, you know, obviously you start scrambling. It's hard for a lineman. They're not going to keep pace for that long. And Aaron Donald, I mean, he's like a Wolverine or like a Badger or something, just small and compact and explosive, and never smiled one time when we were interviewing him. It's like, see, he's gonna eat us? Like, we're not playing, man. It's all good.
3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. 2nd and 10. Wentz steps up, gets rid of it. Catch is made by Hines. Kenny Young makes the tackle out of the 46, 3rd down and 2.
Still plenty of time. Don't have to rush. You see a muddle huddle. They don't get completely huddled up. Carson Wentz telling everyone what's going on. This is actually good for him. He'll be able to see the defense and still check in and out of it if he wants to.
Under a minute remaining. All 3 timeouts. There's Hines. He picks up the Colts first down to midfield, and now Indianapolis will call timeout. 46 seconds on the clock. 46 seconds remaining here in the first half. Los Angeles Rams leading the Indianapolis Colts 10-3. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Lindsey Zarniak. Colts with 2 timeouts remaining. 1st and 10 from midfield. Wentz under pressure. He escapes. Picks up a first down. Colts call timeout. Wentz gains 12.
Exceptional job. Offensive line picked up the blitz. Did an exceptional job of really just O-laying the guys to allow for that run lane for Carson Wentz.
1 timeout remaining. 38 seconds as we check out Aaron Donald's day so far.
As the disruptor, Wolverine, Incredible Hulk, whatever nickname you want to give him. He told us, look, I don't need to have 5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss in a game for it to be a good game. I need to affect the game. Not only that, I need to make sure I put my defensive line in good position so that they can affect the game as well. And he has done that. Been extremely disruptive all day. Looking at my man right there up top.
Wentz complete. Pittman gains 3. Down to 30 seconds.
Still have 1 timeout. They still have plenty of time.
Let's go! Sunday!
2nd and 7. To the near side, Pascal. Out of bounds, stops the clock. Picks up a Colts first down. Now 16 seconds remaining. Verizon halftime is coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Michael.
16 seconds, you can still do whatever you want because you have that timeout. So the Colts can still throw it over the middle of the field. They can throw a 7 route, which is a corner route, a deep corner route if they want to. Even hit Nyheim Hines on a check down, gain some more yards to get in better field goal position.
Remember, the Colts have been stopped twice inside the 5-yard line on 2 different series. Wentz rolling right. And now he throws it away through the back of the end zone. Colts ran 7 goal-to-go plays. Leonard Floyd with the sack on 4th down. The Colts' first offensive series. And then the interception by Troy Reeder.
Change in momentum for those plays. And as I said, I remember the first series, you do it, send a message, 4th down. I mean, really, just take the points. But you don't. It is what it is. Then you come down and try to, do a little trickeration. And, I mean, that's not what got you down there.
Timeout taken by the Rams. 7 seconds on the clock. The Colts with 1 timeout remaining.
The Colts have been really good this half at hitting the receivers around the numbers area. Everything's been between the hash and the numbers. That's been the sweet spot for Carson Wentz and these receivers. So if they get down there with the timeout left and they somehow get into the red zone, stop trying to go at the teeth of this Rams defense. The best player is Aaron Donald. Stop trying to run at him on goal line. Go outside again and see if you can make some hay over there.
From the Rams 28, Wentz takes a shot. And now with 2 seconds remaining, the Colts will send out the field goal unit.
Not bad. Mike Strachan is 6'4", 6'5". Frank Reich loves him, says when he sees him walking down the halls in the facility, he's like, God, I can't believe you're a wide receiver. He's so big. Now take your shot.
Reminds him physically of Brandon Marshall.
Yes. Not as productive, at least not yet. Brandon Marshall.
Only a second NFL game.
Yeah, that's true.
Give him time.
Give him a little time.
There's Blankenship. 46-yard attempt. Straight through. Rams lead by 4. They will receive the second half kickoff. 10-6 over the Colts.
Really good, and I can see why everyone has gushed about how he has been such a tremendous asset for the Rams since he's been traded.
Stafford told us he's so excited to be in L.A. He realizes it's a big opportunity. And we just saw Peyton Manning a couple of minutes ago.
Yep.
We asked Stafford about his relationship with Peyton. He said he receives a text every year from Peyton Manning wishing him luck, as Peyton tends to do with a number of quarterbacks around the league. And Stafford said, he thinks to himself, who am I to be receiving a text from Peyton Manning?
You're pretty darn good. That's who you are. You're pretty special. I know I didn't get any text from Peyton Manning.
Especially not after Super Bowl 44.
Yeah, I didn't get anything.
Well, here comes Matthew Stafford of the Rams offense onto the field to begin the second half. Rams with only 3 possessions in the first half. The touchdown, the interception, and the field goal.
Yep.
Neither team punted over the first 30 minutes.
I think I'm going to go right back to the bathroom and throw up again, Kenny. Jeez.
No punts.
No punts. That is,
Rams start from the 26-yard line. Henderson in the backfield. Stafford on first down off the hands of Robert Woods.
It ends up being an incompletion, but Matthew Stafford did such a tremendous job of that hard count in the beginning. The safeties for the Colts love to disguise. One goes down the box, they run out, and with an immature quarterback, one that doesn't know the defenses and doesn't understand, they would have thought it was 3 deep. Instead, they go back to 2 safeties high, and then Matthew Stafford checks right out of it. Would have been a nice 5-yard completion had it not been dropped. And you got all the receivers down at the bottom. Matthew Stafford loves those combinations that they run.
2nd and 10. He looks left, throws left. It's Kupp. First down and more across midfield. Finally forced out of bounds by Julian Blackmon. 6th reception of the game for Kupp, and he takes it 43 yards.
Cooper Kupp, this is literally a copy and paste of what they did in the first half. They had all the 3 receivers to the bottom. They ran the screen, the bubble screen, which last time I said is essentially a run play. That's what it is. You just insert the wide receiver Cooper Kupp as opposed to Darrell Henderson, and he takes it out the gate. Look, he's literally running like a running back. He looks good, man. That was a good-looking play.
Biggest play of the day on either side. Kupp over 100 yards receiving. Woods in motion. Stafford hands it off to Robert Woods. And he's tackled at the 24-yard line, gain of 7 by Julian Blackmon.
And you see why we said these guys are underrated, Woods and Kupp. Look at who's had the most yards in this series. Woods takes it on a run. Kupp takes it essentially like a run, a bubble screen, and they're being extremely productive. And that's hard for a defense, right? What defense are you going to call where you're going to say, okay, the wide receiver is going to take it like a running back, let's stop him? That's tough.
On second down, it's Henderson. Darrell Henderson has a Rams first down. Chased down by DeForest Buckner. Taken down at the 12-yard line. Gain of 10 by Henderson.
The workhorse. He's the only running back that gets the touches. Sony Michel, I believe, had 3 touches last week. And you can see why. Darrell Henderson doesn't turn the ball over. Extremely efficient. And as soon as he sees that hole, he is bursting through it, 100 miles an hour.
Woods in motion, 1st and 10 from the Colts 12-yard line. It's Henderson.
Nice tackle.
Down to the 6. Kari Willis the tackle.
Yeah, I think Sean McVay heard me when I said run the ball more. They are eating right now. That offensive line doing a great job up front. And this is a difference in the game. Rams had 2 trips, they get points. Colts 2 trips, they get nada, 0, zilch.
Rams looking to add to their lead, 2nd down and 3. Opening drive of the second half. It's Henderson. Stays on his feet. And then is tackled by Rock Yassin at the 2-yard line.
Most important, he got the first down, it looks like. So now you have a new set of downs, 1st and goal on the, 3-yard line. You've gashed them in the run this series. You have 2 excellent wide receivers. And then let's not forget about Tyler Higbee.
Going up against this Matt Eberflus-led Colts defensive unit.
Yep.
First and goal from the 2. Henderson.
Too easy.
Touchdown.
You know, there are touchdowns or drives where it's a big pass and defensively you can say, okay, we'll bounce back from that. It's okay. Then you have these types of drives where they literally just take your soul. Darrell Henderson waltzes in for the touchdown. A little jump over the defender for effects, but that will hurt the defense. That absolutely obliterates the defense mentally and physically.
Extra point is good. So the Rams score on the opening possession of the second half. In across the goal line, Rams extend their lead to 11.
That was a statement series. Ran the ball, not much from Stafford. Let the offensive line get after that defensive line. And I can hear a pin drop, right? It's so quiet in here.
You had the 43-yard catch and run by Cooper Kupp. Carson Wentz and the Colts go back to work. Only 4 first-half possessions. They had 1st and goal from the 1 on their opening drive. Wentz was sacked on 4th down. A couple of field goals, and then the pick deep in Rams territory.
And they're going to go tomorrow and really kick themselves. No matter what happens in this game, they come back to win. It'll be, a great comeback, but they have to find a way to execute better down in the goal line.
As we discussed, they had a number of missed opportunities last week. The opening drive, 9.5 minutes, held to a field goal. Here's Taylor. And then, as you pointed out earlier, Colts were 0 for 3 on fourth down last week. Passed on attempting a couple of field goals, went for it on fourth down.
And in this league, you know, it's nothing wrong with just taking the points, especially when you're going against an offense like this, where the Rams offense, where the points matter, right? You get a field goal, a couple field goals, then it doesn't feel like it's so far out of reach in the second half.
Oh, great. Green 80, green 80. Nope. 20.
Second down and 9 off the fake to Hines. Wentz was under pressure. The pass incomplete. He was looking for the tight end, Cox.
And that was actually a really good play call by Raheem Morris, recognizing that play is going to take a long time to develop. You have two guys on Aaron Donald. Quentin Nelson's actually been doing a pretty good job, you know, for someone that has a little bit of a back issue. He's had foot issue, COVID early on. Going against the best defensive tackle right now. Hasn't been too bad at all, but Raheem Morris really dialing it up. Has a good feel for this Colts offense.
Green 80, green 80. 20.
Third down and 9. As Wentz is hit, down he goes. Third sack today by this Rams defense, Sebastian Joseph Day. Loss of 10 on the play, and Wentz looking for a face mask call.
Sebastian Joseph Day, right in the middle of your screen. Aaron Donald helps with that as they try to slide over, and he just beats his man. Oh, fans are not happy. They're looking for a penalty, face mask penalty on that play.
This is the first punt today on either side. 2-2 Atwell. Early third quarter in Indianapolis. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Lindsey Zarniak. Best starting field position for the Rams. Leading by 11. Stafford on first down, complete. It's Henderson. Henderson gains a couple. You know, Jonathan, we talked about what an impressive Rams debut it was for Stafford last week. But how about his NFL debut back in 2009? Sacked by Jonathan Vilma.
That was the one of 5 sacks I told you about, Kenny. I had 5 sacks that game.
That's the first time Stafford was sacked in his NFL career.
Yes, that's my claim to fame.
Week 1 back in 09.
I did not remind him, though, when we had the interview. I did not remind him.
No, you did not.
That was my claim to fame right there. And oh, by the way, I didn't have 5 sacks. But never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Stafford now in his 13th season. Facing a third down and 8.
He's really like Cooper Kupp on the third down and 8. Up top, Cooper Kupp is right there in the slot position. He's done a good job with the over routes and the option routes on these third and longs.
Stafford fires. He was looking for Kupp. So the Rams will punt it away. Time for a game break. Carissa.
Thanks, Kenny. Jonathan, I actually heard it was 8 sacks, but what do I know? 49ers down 3-0 in Philly. Garoppolo finds Jawan Jennings for this 11-yard score, capping off a 12-play, 97-yard drive. Niners up 7-3.
See, that's why Carissa's my girl.
Absolutely.
She'll just ride with me all the way to the end.
Unless you say anything bad about our Seahawks.
That's true.
That's another story.
The shoes, she was not a fan of that one.
So here's Johnny Hecker punting for the first time today. Colts offense back out to the field, trailing the Rams by 11.
With FanDuel Fantasy, you can make your dream team a reality.
Because he was just too smart, photogenic memory, and Edgerrin James. How much can I say about him from the University of Miami days to Colts days? Taught me how to be a pro. I mean, just phenomenal guys, players and human beings.
fellow Kane. Carson Wentz and the Colts go back to work. Wentz will keep it and picks up a first down.
Carson Wentz sees the pressure. What I like is he wasted no time. As soon as Donald got in there, he said, you know, I'm going to go and, you know, that dive, it's pretty ugly, but it's effective.
Got the job done. Gain of 14.
41.
Looks like someone shot him in the foot and just falls forward.
This is Marlon Mack. His first carry of the season. 1,000-yard rusher 2 years ago.
Knee down right there, Kenny. Yeah, no, definitely down. Clear as day.
Gain of 6 by Mack. Second down and 4. It's back again. Out to the 48-yard line with forward progress.
You know, third and short. They bring in Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. This is a different package. Nyheim Hines does a really good job in the passing game. Jonathan Taylor has surprisingly been really efficient in the passing game as well. So I would look to see Nyheim Hines spread out, doing option routes, and then possibly get Jonathan Taylor out the backfield as well.
They combined for 12 receptions last week.
Yeah, Nyheim is right up there, and then Jonathan Taylor in the backfield.
Hines comes in motion. Pass is caught for a first down by Jack Doyle.
Nice call, Frank Reich. Nice call.
Reich and the Colts looking to bounce back. Colts have lost 8 straight season openers, including 4 under Reich. But in each of his first 3 seasons, Jonathan, they've come back to win their second game.
You see the points allowed per game, 12.3 yards allowed. What I also think about is, yeah, the defense steps up, but the offense does a really good job. And they've done a good job today, just don't have the points to show it.
180, what's up?
From the Rams 40 off the fake to Mack. Wentz fires downfield, and it's complete to Michael Pittman Jr. At the 17-yard line, a gain of 23.
Nice play action. Frank Reich is really calling a good series right here. And this is the first time I've seen Carson Wentz throw the 7 route. The 7 route is so important because it opens up those safeties and those corners. If they know you can hit that on target, then they're going to start pushing back, and it opens up the middle of the field.
Third time inside the red zone for the Colts. Came away with nothing on their first 2 trips. Pass broken up by Darius Williams.
Yeah, that time Carson Wentz forced it. Darius Williams with really great coverage. He had his outlet in Mack. He could have thrown it there. What I want to see is none of the trickeration. Just do what got you here. What got you here was running the ball, perimeter, and then I'll take a shot. So try and take a shot here. Go to the end zone. Don't have to be so conservative. Looking at Aaron Donald. This is his time.
1 sack shy of matching the Rams' franchise record. Second down and 10. Wentz rolling right. Pump fake. And Wentz is shoved out of bounds by Terrell Lewis. They will mark him down at the 8.
Looks like he's just short of the first down. Gets Terrell Lewis to jump with that little fake.
Colts quickly back up to the line.
180, what's on?
Third down and 1. Movement prior to the snap.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 69. After distance penalty. First down.
That's Sebastian Joseph Day, who had a sack earlier. It's the first Rams penalty. The Colts have only been flagged once.
The Rams have played very clean football today. You had the one interception. It was deflected. Other than that, it's been really, really good football by the Rams. Now, what do we do? Okay, spread them out. They'll probably bring Jonathan Taylor back in. But let's do everything other than running right down the middle of that defense.
Third time inside the 5-yard line.
180. What's that?
They have not reached the end zone. Here's Taylor on first and goal. And it was Donald who came around to make the stop. And now some extracurricular activity. More flags. Kenny Young was fired up.
And then more flags after that.
And now Aaron Donald trying to calm down his teammate.
All right, so you have Kenny Young, and can't tell if that's Quentin Nelson he's going after with, and
he was right in the face of the umpire, Brian Neal, as well.
Yeah, and you have Aaron Donald. Look, relax. We're winning the game. Relax.
Long conference, Sean Smith and his crew. Rams were just called for their first penalty of the game on the previous play.
It's coming in bunches right now. Meanwhile, everybody has the same face right now. They're like, what is going on?
Now, it looked like Young made contact with the hat of the official, Brian Neal, the umpire.
There's fouls by both teams on the play. Unsportsmanlike taunting, offense number 14. We also have unsportsmanlike contact against an official, defense number 41. Number 41 has been disqualified. Both fouls will be enforced.
So Kenny Young has been ejected for contact with the official. As we check in with Mike Pereira in Los Angeles. Mike, what did you see?
Well, this is obviously a play that went to New York. Since they had called unsportsmanlike conduct, then New York can get involved and attach a disqualification, which they did for contact of the official. Now, the one thing you look at here is both of these penalties get enforced. They don't offset because contact with the game official is one that's considered like in between downs and is automatically enforced. So you basically get the 15 yards if they could find the order of occurrence, and then they'll penalize them both. That's the uniqueness to this play.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. So Kenny Young heads off to the Rams locker room.
And the officials actually move the ball back because they have to enforce both. One is only half the distance to the goal line, the other is 15, right. So they move the ball back to the 10-yard line.
So it is first and goal from the Rams 9.
We're good.
Hines in the backfield. Wentz able to escape.
Wow.
And then stumbling forward, gains a yard on the play.
This man's a magician. Now you see me, now you don't. Look at Leonard Floyd has him dead to rights and whoop. Next one, oh, right under Sebastian Joseph Day. God, all that for 5 yards. For 1 yard, excuse me.
Second and goal from the Rams' 8-yard line. Wentz on second down, in trouble, stays on his feet, somehow got away from Donald, and then the shovel pass intended for Pittman is incomplete.
Nice change of pace by Raheem Morris. You want to get Donald active, get him away from Quentin Nelson, and then now bring him on this side where he can be extremely effective. Aaron Donald now just bull rushing. Looked like Julian Davenport off the edge. You talk about affecting the game. I mean, there is no time that you cannot be aware of where Aaron Donald is. Carson Wentz literally running for his life right now down here.
11th play of the drive. Third and goal. Play clock at 2. Wentz on third down for the end zone. Touchdown! Zach Pascal.
Zach Pascal, as soon as he breaks in, it's a high-low. You see how they high-low Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey went low with that receiver, and then Zach Pascal goes right in behind him. And a great pass by Carson Wentz. As they go for 2, they get the 2-point conversion and make this a 3-point game as opposed to a 4-point game. Now, if they don't get it, it'll obviously be a 5-point game, and they'll need a touchdown.
Wentz throws. It was tipped and then caught by Doyle. A touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Third touchdown reception of the season for Pascal over the first 2 games. And then off the deflection, it's Doyle. Colts pull to within 3. Play drive, Wentz to Pascal on the 11th goal-to-go play for this Colts offense today. They finally reached the end zone.
That was bound to happen. Another 11-play drive, very methodical, and what a way to respond, Colts offense. Great job responding.
Funk takes a knee down to Lindsey.
Hey, Kenny, I want to show you something special the Colts are doing today. They're trying to spotlight mental health awareness by kicking the stigma of mental health. So you see this T-shirt here. This is what some of the owners were wearing. And earlier during warm-ups, players were on the field wearing black T-shirts in order of celebrating kicking this stigma. This is a campaign that was started in 2020 as an initiative that goes way beyond the Colts community, but one that hits home for players also. DeForest Buckner was telling me this is something we deal with daily in the locker room. Guys sit down, they have to talk about stuff, and we do. We're a brotherhood, so that's just one way that they want to make awareness across the community.
Great job by the Colts organization from top to bottom. Thanks, Lindsey. And now Stafford is taken down, sacked back at the 15-yard line by Al-Quadin Muhammad.
That Colts offense now has the defense fired up. Al-Quadin Muhammad comes inside, just rips right by Andrew Whitworth. You don't see that happen often. That's the speed of Al-Quadin Muhammad. Al-Quadin Muhammad, I don't want to mess his name up because he got the sack and he deserves it.
Especially since he began his career with the Saints.
Yes, he did. I wasn't there, but clearly I had some influence on that. Clearly, Kenny.
6th-round pick back at 17 by New Orleans. 2nd and 18. Stafford looking. Stafford throws, and that is deflected. Grover Stewart getting a hand on it. So now the Colts defense coming up big. Back-to-back
listen to
plays.
the crowd, Kenny. They're into it now.
Third down and 18. Stafford steps up. He throws, and that's broken up. Pass intended for Woods. Julian Blackmon makes the play.
Plaster defense. That's what they played. As soon as Matthew Stafford started to scramble, everybody knew, look, he's not going to run 18 yards for a first down. Let's get on our guys. Julian Blackmon, great job. And now this Colts team, they are right back in it.
Hecker keeps it away from Hines. Ball will be spotted at the 37. Excellent field position for the Colts following a big stand by their D.
Watching Carson Wentz in complete control of this offense. What I love is when you see his eyes, it is downfield. He's not staring at the rush, Aaron Donald or anybody else. He is looking those safeties off. He's fitting the ball right where it needs to be. And then he's getting a little lucky, right? You know, tip ball, still gets a 2-point conversion. But it is very good to see Carson Wentz really growing into his role as that quarterback for the Colts.
Look at his numbers as well as Stafford. Wentz reunited with Frank Reich, his offensive coordinator, during his first 2 seasons in Philadelphia. In 2017, 33 TD passes, named to the Pro Bowl, suffered the torn ACL, missed the Eagles' run to the Super Bowl. Wentz dumps it off. This is Doyle. And Reich told us that he said to Carson Wentz, go be you. I want to see you having fun, and I want to see his confidence come back.
His confidence has come back. You can tell he'll take a hit. He'll take a sack. He's not wavering. He's down the field, complete control. Frank Reich gives him full autonomy on this offense. He can check in and out of plays, and it's looking good for the Colts.
Colts trailing by 3, 2nd and 10. Wentz complete. It's Pittman for a first down. Across midfield into Rams territory.
They have been working this same route combination just with different players all game long. And then Pittman, he's going to go, and it just really sits right in the zone. He sits soft in the zone, and it's really just a high-low. When you saw number 51 for the Rams, he goes low with the outlet instead of staying high on Pittman. It's been working. It's been very effective for them.
That was Troy Reeder, gain of 15. Reeder with the interception earlier on the shovel pass.
Green 80,
From the 48 on first down, play action. Wentz looking for Marlon Mack.
Yeah, he ended up throwing it to Marlon Mack, but I love that they were trying to take a shot. They were trying to get down the field, and he went high to low. Wasn't there for him. Tried to throw the check down.
Second down and 10, late third quarter at Indy. Where will Donald line up this time?
Right there. Creating havoc.
Second down. Donald chasing Wentz. And then Wentz is tackled at the 46-yard line by Justin Hollins.
Yeah, you knew it was just a matter of time. As soon as he gets away from Quentin Nelson, who's the left guard, he goes up on the other side against the replacement for the right tackle position. And now Julian Davenport, he's getting all he can handle from Aaron Donald on that side.
Davenport started at left tackle last week for Eric Fisher, now over on the right side.
Replacing Braden Smith on that right side.
Now Donald matched up with Fisher. Third down and 9. Wentz, punt fake, throws incomplete. Intended target was Pittman. So the Colts will punt it away.
Wentz scrambling for his life. Ooh. You hold your breath. You're a Colts fan. Similar hits like that, he was injured, and fortunately he gets up, he's okay. He's running for his life right now, but I still love how poised he is within the offense.
The punt from Sanchez. Fair catch called for by Cooper Kupp. Now this from Progressive.
Progressive presents At Home with Baker Mayfield.
I'm happy she's renovating her kitchen, but if I have to hear about subway tile one more time...
I know, right? She acts like she's the first person to ever put it in her home.
Hello, 1904?
Thank you.
Oh, there she goes.
Oh, driving a new car, but couldn't donate to my walk-a-thon.
She's a good egg, though.
You know what she is? She is. Did you hear she's pulling her kids out of tennis?
Stop it. Again?
21 seconds remaining, third quarter. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Lindsey Zarniak in Indianapolis. Los Angeles Rams with the football and a 3-point lead.
Crowds on their feet. Rams are backed up, making some noise. Defense has been playing really well these last two series.
They forced the Rams to go 3 and out on those last two possessions. This is Henderson. Henderson gains 4 on first down. Time winding down. Third quarter comes to an end. 3-point game. Emotions on both sides. Each team reached the end zone of the third quarter. Rams lead by 3. Side Lucas Oil Stadium receives his Hall of Fame ring at halftime, and his former team trailed by 11 at one point. Carson Wentz found Zach Pascal in the end zone. 3-point game as we begin the fourth. Second down and 8. Henderson looking to turn the corner, but Corey Willis stayed right with him.
Great job, Corey Willis staying at home. I saw him creep down. There was 8 in the box, and I was wondering, is he going to pursue too fast? Fortunately, he didn't, and looks like Darrell Henderson is down. He looks like he's hurt. Oh, that'd be a big blow for that Rams offense. He does so much for them.
They lost Cam Akers to a torn Achilles. Henderson's done a nice job. 70 yards on the ground last week against the Bears, averaging 4 yards per carry today.
And Corey Willis is down at the bottom. See how he stays home, fights off the stiff arm. Hopefully Darrell Henderson's okay. Great defense by Corey Willis. Rams love Cooper Kupp in this third down situation. Likes running option routes with him as he goes in motion.
The rookie Jake Funk lined up to the left of Stafford. Third down and 7. Rams must get to the 17 for a first down, and they will not, as that pass bounces away from Van Jefferson. Third straight 3 and out.
Yeah. Van Jefferson has to help his quarterback out. That should be a catch. Stafford puts it low and away. He was actually the third option in the progression, looking for Cooper Kupp, and Van Jefferson has to help out. Meanwhile, that's what, third 3 and out?
Third in a row.
Wow. Good job, Colts defense.
So Hecker, who did not punt in the first half. Hecker will pick it up. Ball is loose, and it's recovered in the end zone by Ashton Doolin for a Colts touchdown.
Just talked about Rams playing clean football, only 1 turnover. Oh man, he did not get over enough. That's Nick Scott. personal protector. He has to get over and allow that snap to get through.
An incredible turn of events. The Colts take the lead. One more look. It deflects off Scott. What a way to score your first NFL touchdown, Ashton Dulin. Wild second half here in Indianapolis. Frank Reich and the Colts have their first lead.
And the fans are into it. They are up, cheering. This is the most energy I've felt the past 2 weeks, really, from these fans. They are loving it right now.
Great to see the fans back in stadiums around the NFL. Here's Funk. Across the 25. So the Rams will go back to work, trailing by 4. Fox tomorrow. It's the Wild return. Speaking of Wild, the most epic show on television when the power goes out. Chaos sets in. Don't miss the season premiere of 911, the Blackout, tomorrow on Fox.
You got chaos here right now, Kenny. Crowds into it. Defensive side, and oh boy, Sean McVay is going to look at that film and try to really figure this out. Punt, Colts TD. You don't want that offensively.
3 straight 3-and-outs. Stafford on first down. It's complete. Robert Woods with Sony Michel in the backfield replacing the injured Darrell Henderson. And there's Henderson heading off to the Rams locker room.
That's a big blow. Now, Robert Woods will run the ball sometimes out of the backfield. Cooper Kupp will get those fly sweeps. Sony Michel just has not had a ton of touches. He can be productive, but Darrell Henderson was their workhorse.
First and 10, 41-yard line. Michel, first carry today, up the middle. And he gains 5. The former Patriot out to the 46-yard line. Kwity Paye, the rookie out of Michigan, the tackle. Lindsay.
Yeah, Kenny, wanted to give you guys an update on Darrell Henderson. So they are walking him back to the locker room. When I saw him walk off the field, it looked like he was touching both of his sides. So obviously don't want to speculate, but he did come up, walk. He was gingerly walking here on the sideline, and they just made the decision to take him back and check him out. But I'll have more when we get more of an update.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Second down and 5. Stafford and the Rams led at 1 point, 17-6. Now trail by 4. Off the fake to Michel. Stafford fires to a wide-open Cooper Kupp. And Kupp stays on his feet, finally knocked out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Kenny, this is called a quarters beater. Kupp is going to go up and then over, and it's called a quarters beater because you have 2 safeties back there. You have TJ Carey playing a quarter, and they both go with Van Jefferson as opposed to someone falling off on Cooper Kupp. You don't do that in Matthew Stafford's world. He's going to check that, he's going to see it, and he's going to get the easy completion.
44-yard pass play. Kupp had a 43-yard reception earlier.
They've built a really strong connection. Stafford and Kupp, they're always in sync.
First and goal for the Rams from the Colts 10. Stafford, end zone, touchdown. It's Kupp, his second of the game. The Rams come right back and regain the lead.
Gave the Colts defense a taste of their own medicine. A simple high-low read. And when I say quarters coverage, that means 4 guys are back deep, 2 safeties, and then the corners are going to also help back deep. You have that high-low coverage. If one bites up, you're going right behind them for a touchdown.
It took just over 2 minutes following the special teams miscue. Stafford finds Kupp in the end zone. Rams back on top by 3. What a game. 4 plays, 70 yards in just over 2 minutes. Stafford finds Kupp in the end zone. Rams lead by 3.
And that's how lethal Matthew Stafford is. I had the pleasure of playing with a quarterback and named Drew Brees, first ballot Hall of Famer. He was the exact same way. He was like, okay, you have the momentum. I'm going to come right back, and I'm going to take it from you. Put a dagger in that Colts defense.
By the way, Drew Brees, the only quarterback in history to average more passing yards per game than Matthew Stafford.
How did you know that? You literally just, you're like a human encyclopedia, Kenny. Our producer called you a human nerd.
He's not that far off.
Oh, man, he's a great teammate. Drew Brees, my best teammate, favorite guy. He was awesome. And Matthew Stafford, you know, we're holding Matthew in high regard, especially with the talent that he has here with the Rams. They can really do some damage.
Brees 280 yards per game in the air. Stafford 273.
Good. As long as my Saints guy is on top, it's good.
Now the Colts go back to work from the 25-yard line. Nice run on first down, 9 for Jonathan Taylor as we head to Los Angeles. Carissa.
Biggest Kenny, Bengals down by 7. Joe Burrow will be intercepted by Roquan Smith for a 53-yard pick 6. Andy Dalton sidelined with a knee injury in this game. Doubtful return, so it's Justin Fields in at quarterback. Not Joe Burrow's day. 3 interceptions on his last 3 pass attempts. Bears leading this one 17-3.
Wow, thanks, Carissa. Rams leading this one by 3, 24-21, as Taylor picks up a first down. By the way, Jonathan, NFC West 4-0 last week during kickoff weekend. Rams leading this game, 49ers 14-3 over the Eagles. Seahawks and Cardinals will play later today, so the division looking to remain perfect.
Without a doubt, it's the best division in football, top to bottom. There is no weak link when you talk about the Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. I mean, they are too good right now, and they all play really good football. They can run the ball, good quarterback play, and an outstanding defense.
New set of downs for the Colts. From the 37-yard line, quick out to Zach Pascal. And Pascal works his way out to the 46-yard line for a gain of 9 on first down.
Now, offensively, between the 5-yard line and the other 5-yard line, right, offensively for the Colts, they've been really, really good. They had issues inside the 5-yard line and goal to go. Other than that, they've had their way with this Rams defense. There have been some times where the Rams look really suspect defensively, aside from Aaron Donald being Aaron Donald.
Colts stopped twice in the first half inside the Rams 5-yard line.
180.
Second down and 1. This is Mack.
Nice cut.
Marlon Mack picking up a Colts first down.
Nice cut, nice tackle by Jalen Ramsey. I just love all the talking and communication. I hope fans can appreciate how much communication goes on along that offensive line when they're all talking right before the play. Carson Wentz is talking, you know, Mack fighting for every yard, going against Jalen Ramsey, one of the best. We haven't called his name much today. Still one of the best to do it. Uh-oh, illegal substitution, I believe.
12 players in the huddle, offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
Pittman attempted to hustle off the field.
Yeah, you can't do that. It messes with the defense. They have to be able to match what you have as far as personnel. You can't hide a player in there.
So the penalty sets the Colts back 5 yards. 9.5 remaining in the fourth. Rams with a 3-point lead.
See, I hope the fans can hear everything that's going on, all the communication.
Purple. 1-1. Hey, we're on. Hey, Richmond.
1-1.
180.
First down at 15. Wentz wide open. It's Doyle. Jack Doyle finally knocked out of bounds at the Rams 22-yard line, a 33-yard connection.
And Aaron Donald right back up against Nelson, and boy, Nelson put those big arms on him. He had him locked up, gave Carson Wentz just enough time to catch Jack Doyle on that over route, going over across the defense. Carson Wentz put it right on the money.
Doyle's 5th catch today.
We're good. 120. What's that?
From the Rams 22, it's Mack. And he's cut down by Jonah Williams. After a short gain, Mack picks up a yard.
See, here's where I'd want to see more shots into the end zone from the Colts offense, around this 20-yard mark, because Carson Wentz, he throws a beautiful ball, right? If you give him a little time, he'll throw a beautiful ball into the end zone. So take a shot right here.
Silver. 850.
3 wide receivers set.
Grenading.
Cox, the tight end, slot to the right. 2nd down and 9. They keep it on the ground with Mack.
Yeah, this is a manageable 3rd down. Jack Doyle comes back in. You have Mack and Ali Mo Cox going out. This is where they've done a lot of the high-lows. They've really attacked those linebackers where they put one guy in front of the linebacker. He bites up. We called it taking the cheese when I played. You take the cheese right in front of you, they throw right behind you for that completion.
Bunch formation to the right.
There it goes.
3rd down and 5. Wentz. Donald. Ball comes loose. Ruled an incomplete pass.
Yeah, see, it's easier said than done up here in the booth, right? Carson Wentz needs time. Aaron Donald, this is the matchup he's loved. He has frankly owned that right side of the offensive line for the Colts. He has owned Lewinsky and Davenport. He gets over there on 3rd down. You can just call it. Carson Wentz has 2 seconds, and it's not happening.
So here's Blankenship, 35-yard attempt. Tie game. Aaron Donald limping on the Colts sideline.
And Eason warming up. Hopefully Wentz will go back in. But you can't fault Wentz for his performance. He's been rushed, sacked, pressured, still gets the ball down the field, still been effective all game long.
Remember, he underwent foot surgery in early August.
Yeah, I just saw him shake his head, and it looked like he mouthed and said, "I can't." There comes the frustration setting in. Oh, man.
Rams will start at their 25 in a tie game.
Aaron Donald gets a hold of him, and looks like the right ankle might have gotten twisted up. Watch the right ankle, Kenny. Oh.
So we'll keep an eye on Wentz. He's sitting on the bench, tended to by the Colts medical staff, as Stafford and the Rams go back to work. Pass is dropped. Woods unable to make the play.
You know, that Wentz right ankle injury, looks like they're going to try to tape it up and see if he can make a go of it again. And man, look at the frustration, the disgust. I feel for him. I feel for you, Wentz. He's had a really good game. I really feel for him.
2nd and 10. Empty backfield. Stafford complete. Woods this time able to make the catch out to the 39-yard line, gain of 14.
That's where they're going to make their hay. With Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Darrell Henderson is out. And I love the fact that they keep putting 1 and 2 on the same side. It's a matchup nightmare for T.J. Carey, Kenny Moore, any of those guys, having both of them on the same side.
Under 7 minutes remaining. From the 39 on 1st down, it's Sony Michel. Michel gains a couple out to the 41. Rams under Sean McVay have had great success in the Eastern time zone, record of 9-3. They traveled from Los Angeles yesterday afternoon. Some teams traveled from west to east on Friday, but
very different.
It has worked for McVay and the Rams.
Get all their meetings done, fly out, sleep, wake up and play.
10 a.m. start, body time. Second down and 8. Stafford throws, pass is caught by Woods, looks to be just shy of the marker.
Yeah, see, I don't like that from Matt Eberflus. He drops one of the defensive linemen and, you know, just gives Stafford too much time. Yeah, you have an extra body in zone, but at the end of the day, these guys are too savvy. They're going to find a hole, they're going to get the completion. Use that guy to rush instead. Brings up the 3rd and short. I can see them running the football here or an option route with Cooper Kupp.
Funk in the backfield. 7th round pick out of Maryland.
I just saw you curse, Kenny. I'm not going to lie.
Jake Funk. F-U-N-K. Stafford.
There goes
complete.
Kupp.
It's Kupp. Turns upfield. And looks to have a Rams first down.
DeForest Buckner getting in there, splits the double team, gets the pressure, but Cooper Kupp, that's why I mentioned, you might as well rush those guys and get that pressure. Cooper Kupp is so savvy. Man, he is such a good wide receiver. Nice play to get the first down. Great awareness, too, to know where he was to get that extra yard and get the first down.
Kupp's 9th reception. Under 5 minutes on the clock. Rams on the move in Colts territory. Sony Michel. Michel close to another LA Rams first down.
Yeah, and the Colts are going back to the shell coverage. 2 safeties really high, about 10, 12 yards off the football. And they're saying, look, front 7, front 6, you guys are going to have to stop the football, stop the run game, because we're not going to give up the big play or give up a touchdown, especially with the time winding down. It's going to be slow and methodical for the Rams right now.
Quick look at Carson Wentz on the Colts sideline. Working on his ankle. Here's Michel. Diving forward inside the 35 to the 34-yard line with under 4 to play.
And I started looking at the clock. The Colts do have 3 timeouts. But, you know, you just want to make sure you don't leave yourself too little time to operate. You know, Frank Reich, I know he's looking and saying, all right, do we just say, hey, let's go after him, start blitzing, get the ball back as quickly as possible, or stay with this shell look, 2 high safeties as we see Carson Wentz. Oh, there we go, putting a little pressure on that right ankle.
He has the cleat back on.
He has the cleat back on. Hopefully he can definitely make a go of it.
What is it?
Second down and 5. Sony Michel, first down inside the 25-yard line. So Michel, only 1 carry on Sunday night against Chicago. Gains 11. He's averaging 6.5 per carry today.
And it's a no-brainer. Sony Michel, he's going to get the bulk of the touches because they have Kyrie Willis, 12, 15 yards deep. They have Julian Blackmon, 12, 15 yards deep. It's his show right now. Sony Michel, he's going to get the load. And those fresh legs, he is coming downhill fast at that Colts defense. There, they finally put Kyrie in there. He's in the box.
Woods in motion from the 23-yard line on first down. They keep feeding Michel. And he takes it down to the 17.
Yeah, now Frank Reich using a timeout. Recognizing the situation, and then he'll still get a timeout with a 2-minute warning.
Stops the clock with 2:32 remaining. If and when the Colts get the ball back, Carson Wentz certainly hopes to be back out on the field. This is back in 2017, season-ending injury against the Rams. His Eagles would go on to win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles at quarterback. And then earlier in this 4th quarter, got rid of the football, was taken down by Aaron Donald, and then limped off.
Yeah, you see him shaking his head.
Second down and 4 following the timeout. They add 2 seconds back onto the clock. And Stafford hands it off to Michel. Michel to the 15-yard line, and the Colts use their second timeout with 2.5 remaining.
Now, hopefully you hold the Rams on this third down. It'll take you down to a 2-minute warning. If Frank Reich chooses not to use that last timeout, save that timeout for when you get the ball on offense. And if you need to use it for, trying to get to a field goal range, you can do that.
Tied at 24. Rams led by 11. Late in the third quarter. Colts took the lead on a special teams touchdown, and then Stafford to Cooper Kupp. But a Colts field goal.
If it were me, Kenny, I would blitz. You've got to affect Matthew Stafford right now.
Third down and 2,
go.
and Darius Leonard makes the play, bringing down Cooper Kupp.
Blitz off the edge. That's exactly what they needed to do. Recognizes coming on the blitz, coming right off the edge. Boom, right there for you. Great job, great leader, great linebacker.
Colts have used their final timeout. They stopped the Rams on third down, so Los Angeles sends out the field goal unit. Frank Reich has used all 3 timeouts, but saved a lot of time.
And he still has, effectively another timeout with a 2-minute warning. I like the game management. Smart.
That gay 30-yard attempt. From the left hash from 38. Rams go back on top. 2:23 on the clock, 3-point lead for the Rams. Kenny Albert along with Jonathan Vilma. What a wild second half.
It's been a great second half. We saw the Colts defense step up, Colts offense step up. We've seen a bunch of the Rams and how they played well offensively and defensively. It really shows me how good both teams can be. We've seen the good of both and the bad of both, but it's been a really great second half.
And now the big question, Carson Wentz, his ankle, his availability. The Colts will have the 2-minute warning. They're out of timeouts.
And it looks like Wentz might be done, unfortunately. And you see the hat on. He doesn't have the helmet. He's not going out there. And you can tell he's really favoring that ankle. So it's going to be up to Eason to lead this Colts offense to at least field goal range and try to get overtime.
Jacob Eason, who will make his NFL regular season debut. Spent all of last season with the Colts out of the University of Washington, but did not get into a game. He idolized Peyton Manning growing up in the Pacific Northwest. And now, a little over an hour after Peyton received his Hall of Fame ring, it's Jacob Eason out on the field to quarterback the Indianapolis Colts.
Are you foreshadowing, Kenny? Is he going to have a Peyton-like drive here? Is this what you're telling me? I'm tuned in, man. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. If that's what's going to happen, I'm all for it.
Well, he wears half of his uniform number. So let's see what he can do. On a relief of Carson Wentz. From the 25 on first down. Eason throws near side. It's incomplete. Off the hands of Zach Pascal.
Still have the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 10. We know it's 4 downs. We already know that. So it's a matter of getting him, kind of warmed up, really, to be quite honest. I would put a check down, 5 yards right in front of him. If nothing's open, nothing available, let him hit Nyheim Hines, who's in the backfield right now. Last thing you want to do is let Aaron Donald wreck the show, because he is ready right down on this side against his favorite guys.
Eason on second down, and Jalen Ramsey comes up to make the huge play. With 2:13 remaining, Ramsey with the pick. Rams with a 3-point lead get the ball back.
That's what game changers do. That's what they do, Kenny. We hadn't called his name all day, literally all day. And when it was time to step up, oh, there you go, talking to the crowd, and one of the best. Raheem Morris said what? He's not just a good corner or a good DB. He is a great football player. You can put him anywhere, and he's going to make a play. And right there, he was literally playing safety and gets the interception.
Now, the Rams cannot run the clock all the way down due to the 2-minute warning. But the Colts will have to stop them 2 more times. Ramsey with the pick. Rams lead by 3. What a game. In particular,
E/safeties in the game. Jalen Ramsey just literally sitting on those routes. And he understands what the concept is. They call this a levels concept. You have one running to the corner in front, one behind, and he's too good of a player to just lob the ball up like that.
2nd down and 9 for the Rams. Here's Michelle.
I've watched him since last year, and I've just been absolutely amazed at how awesome he's been at that DB position. Playing outside, locks down your best receiver, or selfishly goes to the nickel spot, which is inside, makes plays on the run, goes in for the blitz. I mean, he's as good as they come, man. Freakishly athletic. Love watching Ramsey play. You see Eason, it's a tall ask. Go against the #1 pass defense from last year, try to lead your team down for a field goal. No one's going to fault him for that.
Down to 1:20. 3rd down and 7. It's Michelle, and he will be stopped at the 40-yard line. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame. Week 2 in the National Football League. Sean McVay chatting with special teams coach Joe DeCamillis as the Rams let the clock wind down.
Yeah, I wonder if they take the 5-yard penalty and then try and pooch punt. I see Stafford still out there. McVay's next to the referee. Doesn't look like he's going to try to signal a timeout or anything. Oh, they're going to try to get him to jump off sides. There we go.
First charge, timeout, Los Angeles. 30 seconds.
Up next week for the Rams, the defending champs on America's Game of the Week.
All right, look, that's not fair. We should not have put that there. That's not fair for Stafford. That's not fair for any quarterback going against Brady. We know how awesome he is.
How about the Colts? They must head on the road, Jonathan, for their next 3.
And you're looking at 2 of those 3 playoff teams. The Miami Dolphins could have made the playoffs, had a chance. Wow, you're looking at a very tough schedule for these Colts. They got to find a way to win 1 and start to get on the roll.
Tucker punting from midfield. Fair catch called for at the 10-yard line by Hines with 24 seconds remaining. Tremendous job as always by our entire crew. Producer Fran Morrison, director Brian Lilly, associate director Caden Pfeiffer, our broadcast associates Cody Novak and Sarah Shields, technical director Jared Legrani, technical producer Sid Drexler, Ben Bowman, Dave Corris here in the broadcast booth. You had a look at Carson Wentz, knocked out of the game earlier in this 4th quarter on a hit by Aaron Donald. So Jacob Eason in his first regular season action, intercepted by Jalen Ramsey on the last drive. 24 seconds, no timeouts.
180!
Eason on 1st down, fires over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Michael Pittman. We welcome a new audience. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Lindsey Sarniak. Rams leading the Colts by 3, 19 seconds remaining. Jacob Eason in for the injured Carson Wentz. Matthew Stafford, a couple of touchdown passes, both to Cooper Kupp. Wentz in his second start as a Colt. 247 yards and a touchdown. Matthew Stafford and the Rams looking to go 2-0 to start this season. Colts out of timeouts. 19 seconds remaining from their 10-yard line. Eason throws. Catch is made by Pittman. First completion of Eason's career as we take a look back at Carson Wentz's day.
Pressured all day. Let's first start with that, and then let's talk about how he was very calm, very composed in the pocket. Aaron Donald was just a nightmare for that offensive line, especially the left side, and Carson Wentz getting the worst of it at the end from Aaron Donald kind of wrapping him up and rolling that ankle over. He was having a good game. I really feel for Carson Wentz. He was having a good game.
Hopefully from a Colts standpoint, he will be available for their game next week down in Nashville. Stanford band nowhere in sight as time winds down. Eason back across the field to Hines. Zeros on the clock. That will do it. So the Rams go to 2-0 for the 4th straight season. The Colts took the lead in the 4th quarter, but they fall short. Matthew Stafford and the Rams with a 27-24 victory. We'll be back.